Your name and anyone.
My name is Julius Matai. I'm the Minister of Mines and Mineral Resources for the Republic of Sierra Leone.
Is it a concern to you that African core resources seems to be in the hands of foreigner?
Well, of course, it's a concern, and this is not anything new. This has gone on for centuries. If you follow the history of Africa, the partition of Africa, that's where this issue started. But I'm also optimistic. Gradually, we are taking ownership of our own development and our mineral resources. Not forgetting to realize that the 54 countries in Africa, only few of them were not colonized. So the colonial masters, even when they gave us our independence or regain our independence, they still have their legacies in there to ensure that they keep controlling our mineral resources. Those Bretton Woods institutions like the World Bank, the IMF, and all of these still have an influence. But interestingly enough, we the Africans are now waking up. Gone are those days when we are just sitting down, we allow them to do all the exploration, the exploitation, the manufacturing, the processing. The reason we are here is because this awakening is happening. So through the African Mineral Strategy Group that has assembled here to ensure that we share knowledge and our resources, to ensure that we share investment opportunities, to ensure that we also make progress in terms of technological advancement, capacity building for our young men and young women, and collaborate strategically. It's a starting point. I have said this over and over that the mere fact that we are just mining raw materials and shipping them out, where the foreigners go and add value and bring them back to us, is not a model that will work for Africa. We create jobs, we're able to develop ourselves. When the mineral resources that are mined, we do value addition upstream, downstream, side stream, or midstream, and then making sure we build a capacity of our young men and young women to ensure that the entire value chain they add value, which means after extraction, they should be involved in the beneficiation, the processing, the manufacturing, even the use and the reuse or the cycling of these things. Recently, there have been a lot of buzz about critical minerals. These are the ones, we call them energy transition minerals: lithium, graphite, cobalt, nickel, and all the rest. Recently, I mean, just today, I took a walk around, the exhibition. I was amazed to realize the varieties of minerals Nigeria has. And there's a state, and I've forgotten the name. I was,
Enugu,
no, 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 not Enugu.
Taraba,
No, not
Nasarawa.
Taraba. No, Sarawa. I was amazed. And if I looked at that, one particular exhibition I saw, they had lithium, they have cobalt, they have cassiterite for tin, they have sphalerite for zinc, and all of the rest. But then they also had coal. And I realized, to extract lithium from this bitumen, you need a lot of energy. And now we have been told by some of these thought, I mean, Western countries that we should not be using coal for our own development because of climate change. And I realized if this particular state has all this lithium and all these other mineral resources, and if they can just use that coal as a source of energy, then it means they cannot participate meaningfully and compete meaningfully with those countries like China, where they are now, in the forefront of processing this. Currently, we take these minerals and we send them there, they process them and add value. So I think it's good. And furthermore, just today again, a new initiative was launched, Africans for Africa, which is really, I think, for me, it's wonderful. It means this is the awakening I'm talking about. So if Africans for Africa can come together, the brain drain we've had those in the diaspora, we pull our resources together, we work in terms of South-South partnership. Sierra Leone, we have iron ore. If we can bring it to Nigeria that has gas, and we can actually beneficiate and refine that into steel, and then supply us again steel for our construction industries and other stuff, rather than taking, iron ore 65 days from Sierra Leone to China, and then China converts them and bring them back to sell to us. I think that would be wonderful. I think this is the start of such initiative, and I think it's good.
So what will be your take home?
My take home from here, it's the passion, the energy that I have seen, especially from the Minister of Solid Minerals in Nigeria, our host, Dr. Dele Alarke. He's passionate about it. And I saw also the Secretary General, for the African Mineral Strategy Group, Mr. Moses Edungu. I mean, how they are motivated and how that has rubbed off on so many other participants. That look, it's now time for us to ensure that our mineral resources we have, and mining being a very risky and capital intensive process, and it has a lot of need for energy, how we can bring these two sectors together to ensure that we develop our countries. Whilst, of course, being mindful of our contribution, to reducing global warming and other stuff, but we must do it in a way that does not compromise our own development. Because again, as I've been saying this, the developed world have used coal, oil, and gas to take themselves to where they are. They need to give us also the opportunity to be able to do that. And we should do it, of course, in a more responsible way, while being mindful of the need to mitigate and adapt to climate change. So for me, that's the biggest thing. And Nigeria, that has hosted us, I mean, this is my second time in Abuja. I'm very impressed, and I do look at the energy I see from the Nigerians when they saw the exhibition. I will take some of that energy away to Sierra Leone and make sure we also do the same thing, like what the Nigerians are doing in Abuja. I mean, the biggest thing as I'm living here, going back home, telling everybody that the mineral resources, the energy resources, we're going to add them to Afrobeat and then do the same thing that Afrobeat is doing around the world to ensure that, yes, Africans, we are now awake, we've now woken up, taking our development into our hands, taking two major sectors, mining and energy, and then making that message to our people.
Thank you.
This is Hajia Fatima Umaru Shinkafi. I'm the CEO, Executive Secretary of the Solid Mineral Development Fund.
The AFNIS conference is already winding up now, and there have been 2 days of brainstorming, as regard the extractive industry. What do you make of this whole event, and then your take home from it?
I think it's a successful event. I think Africa needs to come together with one common goal and vision. We have similar challenges, and we have to brainstorm together to cross-fertilize ideas and solutions that are for Africa, tailor-made for Africa.
So, of course, you also mentioned while you were speaking, and that does resonate. Africa for Africa. In the mining sector, what does that translate?
It translates to shared prosperity. It translates to intra-Africa trade. It translates to value addition. It translates to keeping the value of our resources for the benefit of our people, to build infrastructure, for energy, and for development, and not taking out value and importing finished goods, exporting jobs. It translates to employment, it translates to skills development, and enhancement of all the values that we have already within Africa.
Man, you're heading a critical agency, right? That should trigger growth, that would trigger support, of course, in the mining sector.
So we are triggering it. It's a catalyst for the private sector in particular. We have synergy with DFIs such as AFC. We're talking to other ones as well to de-risk the sector in the emergent stages it is at now, especially greenfield exploration. Data is what drives a lot of these decisions and production. And we're at the low end of data. A lot of people have interest, but it's a science. You need to have data to take decisions. You need data for investors to partner. PPPs are based on data, and it's multi-dimensional. It's not just the exploration. There's infrastructure, there's energy. It's multifaceted. So my agency is working on de-risking the sector, especially private sector led investment.
Thank you.
Finally, what role is your organization playing to local miners?
Local miners, 90% of mining in Nigeria is artisanal, small scale and artisanal miners. We have special incentives for training and capacity building. We have the initiatives for off-taking because they often fall prey to middlemen, and they exploit them, and they cut them short in pricing and other things. So capacity building training, safer mining so that they don't kill themselves and they don't expose themselves to mercury and cyanide and other harmful practices.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, for the sake of our audience, let's speak by your name and your performance.
I'm Mohammed Seri. I'm here in the capacity of Special Envoy for Trade and Investment. in Sierra Leone. I'm also one of the founding members with the African Strategic Mineral Group.
Okay, at the moment we're talking about mining. So how is this benefiting Africa as a whole?
Well, I don't see how it's benefiting Africa. I think how we can benefit from program like this ones that we have, and I think I'm here to represent the interest of my other colleagues in the private sector as well, who believe we've been lacking in ownership, local content. So I think in order for us to benefit tremendously from these golden opportunities, we call them, Africans need to have ownerships in our minerals. So my position here is to see how we can facilitate ownership in the mining sector by Africans.
So are we going to say this event is timely?
More than timely, it's very, very timely. And I think we must commend the Minister of Solid Minerals for taking leadership in such a conference. I think it's high time that Africans understand that we can only solve our problems when we take active participation and when we recognize that we have the talent, we also have the resources, and these resources are meant for us. We can collaborate, we can partner with foreign partners, but we have to take the driver's seat in moving Africa forward.
So what's the synergy between Nigeria and Sierra Leone?
Very, very good. Very, very good. Nigeria has been very supportive in West Africa. You know, recently as ECOMOG troops, what they did for Africa, and now they're taking leadership in so many other things. So having it in Nigeria, I think, is a good step.
Thank you very much. Your name once again?
Mohammed Seri.
For the sake of our readers and listeners, your name and who you are, please.
Okay, I'm Engineer Naomi Tankwago, the Commissioner to the Ministry of both Energy and Economic Development, Taraba State.
Yeah, you're here. This mining event. And of course, the theme, like they say, is Africa for Africa. What would you say about when mining is mentioned? Nigeria will mention, even our states, of course, potentials. Why are we still there?
Well, we're still there because mining sector is still a developing sector, and we're still there because a lot of the minings that occur within Nigeria and mostly Africa at large is you mine, you take out the resources, but we haven't really gotten to the point of the beneficiation aspect of mining, whereby the value chains are retained in Africa. So I think that's why we're still talking about potential, we're still talking about development. Until we get that full value chain, then we would say we're fully participating in the mining
So
sector.
tell us, what's the effort of the state government in maximizing the opportunities in the mining sector in the state?
Well, the state government has a very robust plan to ensure, like I said, retaining the value chain within Taraba State. And that is why the mining activities in Taraba State is going to be very different than what you have basically in the rest of the country. Value chain is key for us. It's key to economic prosperity. We don't want to still continue the cycle of Africa where solid minerals and raw materials are being taken out of the country unprocessed.
Thank
That's
you.
all.
Your full name again?
I'm Engineer Naomi Tankwago, Commissioner of Energy and
Sorry,